Well, hi, Victoria.
Holy shit. Hey, Jay.
What,
Jayest of the Beans.
what you doing?
I'm watching a movie. What are you doing?
I'm also watching a movie.
Oh my God. Jay, do you happen to be watching Scream 2?
Holy fucking shit. How did you know?
Because we are celebrating week 2 of the Final Girl series, and we are doing my very favorite Final Girl of all of slasher films put together, Miss Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, and we are celebrating the most Sydney of Sydneys in Scream 2.
Yes, we are.
And I am so stoked about it because she's the best Final Girl, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, well, I look forward to that.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Jay.
Hey, I'm Victoria.
Welcome to the Scary Movie Club.
Welcome to the Scary Movie Club.
I'm in the goddamn club, all right.
Well, this is a very special episode because we are Zoom casting.
Yeah.
Jay is at his store in what usually is our little pod area, and I am at home in the land with my boys watching Jada Pinkett Smith yell at Heather Graham.
I kind of always want to yell at Heather Graham. She's legitimately one of my least favorite actresses.
Oh, that's mean. I mean, I get it. Like, I don't think she's a good actress. I think like it sucks because I really want to like her, but yeah, she's just not like a very.
That I like.
That's the thing. She's in a lot of movies that I like, but I don't like her in them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, especially the movie From Hell. Like, I want to like that movie so much, but she does not play a good Cockney British person.
No, she's too Southern California.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's where she's from, but that's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, like the bubbly kind of valley girl type of thing. Like, and that sucks that she's kind of typecast that way because you want to definitely see them branch out and broaden, and grow as an actor and whatnot. But like accents aren't her thing, so I think that really limits her. Whatever. We're not here to talk about Heather Graham's career.
No.
We're here to talk about my favorite Final Girl,
Yeah.
Neve Campbell, Sydney fucking Prescott. Now, we are doing Scream 2 today because, this is where I find Sydney to be her most badassedness. I find Sydney to be the most fearless and just on her game. Now, you could argue that Scream 3, progresses her a little bit more, which it totally does. It totally does. When Scream 3, we see Sydney on her own property, like taking the precautions because she knows Ghostface is going to come back. Like it's, Scream 3 in its own right is fantastic. And Sydney on this new character development is just really incredible to watch. But here, I feel like she's just a spitfire. Like she is completely fearless. She walks into every situation knowing that like, hey, I've done this before. I have this just unwavering bravery that I so admire. Like I would like, this is the movie where I'm like, would I survive? And if so, would I be like Sydney? Because I would definitely want to be.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting because the events of the first movie are still fairly fresh for her.
Yeah, this isn't like, ancient history for her. This happened just within the last, 2 years for her.
Yeah, I think they might have jumped it up a couple years.
Yeah, she's in college in this one.
A year after the last one.
So the first Scream featuring Neve Campbell as Sydney Prescott, Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, Dwight, Dewey,
David Arquette.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of Dewey's last name.
I honestly do not remember.
I don't either, but David Arquette plays Dwight or Dewey.
Dewey.
Yep, Deputy Dewey. Also, we had Skeet Ulrich in the first one playing Billy Loomis, which, it's funny because I started doing a little bit of research when we talked about Janet Leigh, and the last name Loomis is so repetitive in the horror genre because you have the last name Loomis in Psycho, you have the last name Loomis, the last name Loomis in Halloween, in that franchise, the last name Loomis, obviously Billy Loomis, Stu Macher, who are our two killers in the first Scream. So yeah, and I think what set Scream and this whole kind of saga apart from a lot of other final girls is that, to me, Neve Campbell's character has plans in place. Like, she's going to go into a situation kind of looking at all of the all of the things around her and be like, okay, I can, like, she goes in with a plan. Like, I think she's very, very, very smart. And a lot of other final girls just kind of get by on luck. And except, and this is an honorable mention, the movie You're Next. I feel like Sidney Prescott is kind of an earlier You're Next vibe. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So You're Next, that final girl lived on like an Australian survivalist camp. Like, she knew how to take care of herself. And I feel like Sydney going into a situation also knows you can always see Sydney trying to make a plan, looking for the exit, looking for a weapon. You always see Sydney trying to react and get out of the situation as quickly as possible and save her own ass, which is exactly what you want in a final girl. But I just think she's so smart and so fast on her feet about it. Her fight or flight response is just really above par than any other final girl that I can think of.
Yeah, so we are at least watching the premiere of Stab, the movie in the movie, based on the book that Gail Weathers wrote about the events of the first Scream film.
Yes, the Woodsboro Massacre.
Yes. And so we have already seen Omar Epps get killed. And then Omar Epps in a mask sits down next to Jada Pinkett Smith, and she pulls away her hands covered in blood.
Yes, realizing that her boyfriend, even though everyone's in Scream masks and this Scream killer's wearing her boyfriend's jacket, it's not her boyfriend. And he stabs her.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And at first, I was very incredulous about this scene because he just straight up murders her in the middle of the movie. And they were just like, oh, but then like rewatching this again, the amount of spectacle around the movie.
Oh yeah.
They have like a ghost face puppet like flying through the rafters of this movie theater and people in masks and glow in the dark knives. So part of me is like, okay, maybe people would have believed that it was an act.
I mean, plus they have people standing, they're running. People are pretending to like stab each other because they were given these like glow in the dark knives.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing the ghost face mask. Everyone's running around and pretending to stab and everything. So it like the most intimate places are wild parties because it's enough distraction around you that no one's paying attention to what you're doing. Yeah. So I think it makes perfect sense. It's a perfect backdrop to what's happening. And so Jada Pinkett Smith walks up on like the stage of the screen. Everyone in the theater is like taking off their masks, realizing, oh shit, this woman is dying. And then she gives this really over the top dramatic death scene, which I appreciate. Just really,
if I'm going to do this, I want it to be in the most ridiculous over the top way.
And she did, man. She delivered on that promise. Because it's just
because it's perfectly screened because it's satirical, but it's well done. You know, the dialogue is really funny, really good, and it looks great, and it starts your movie off pretty perfectly.
So we're now cutting to Sydney's first time on screen, and
I've ever seen.
Yes, literally the cutest dorm room possible. Although it's probably not a dorm room, that's probably actually an apartment.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels it feels more like a hotel in the lobby when she's walking through.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah. But still, whatever it is, it's one of the nicer ones, whatever college she's at. And so, she's not taking any guff from anyone. It starts off showing Sydney, like, again, being the strong final girl. Someone calls her on a crank call because all of this press around Stab is happening. And so everyone knows it's pretty much Sydney's story. So she's getting crank calls and everything like, ooh, what's your favorite scary movie? Do you know who this is? And she pulls, she knows what to do. She pulls over the caller ID because she's like, I know going forward how to protect myself and, how to field out the creeps. And she's like, yeah, this is Corey Gillis at 513-555. And he's like, God damn it. She's like, yep, you're not wasting my time. And that's Sydney from the start, just really ready to go at any time. And I do love the we should go back really quickly and say, I love my DVDs. I own Scream 2 on DVD, so that is where I am watching it. Jay, where are you streaming this on?
I'm currently watching a rented copy on Amazon Prime. However, if you have the AMC add-on, you can stream it through that. However, I think it's a weird, like, edited for TV version that's not really edited. So, like, it had the gore and it had the swearing, but it would, like, fade out and then fade back in really weird ways that I felt like were not there. So maybe built-in commercial breaks. But I don't know. So that's why I rented it, because that was weirding me out.
Yeah. So recommendation, rent it or go to the exchange and find it on DVD for cheap.
Yeah.
So this,
not a total crazy person, you can get a Blu-ray as well. Just whatever you prefer.
Well, now we're fighting. Oh yeah. And wonderful Sarah Michelle Gellar is in this. So it couldn't be a more 90s movie. But yes,
also,
this came
Joshua Jackson as an unnamed character in the film class.
Oh yeah. He just randomly shows up. It's pretty great.
There's an interesting bit of dialogue between his character and Randy Meeks, Jamie Kennedy's character from the first film, where they're quoting the line from Alien, "Stay away from her, you bitch." And Joshua Jackson's character says the line properly. And then Randy corrects him and says, "No, it's this line, you idiot." The problem is Joshua Jackson was supposed to say the wrong line and then get corrected properly. But Jamie Kennedy actually just ad-libbed the wrong correction and they just left it in.
The first Scream came out in 1996. Second Scream came out in 1997. This is directed by Wes Craven, who also did the Nightmare on Elm Street, first Nightmare on Elm Street and the third Nightmare on Elm Street. So Wes Craven came back to do the second one, which I think is great. I do appreciate that they didn't just make a campy sequel, kind of like, like Friday the 13th, although one of my all-time favorite slashers, they are all campy sequels, but they don't make you care about the core characters like Scream does. And so you do still get your bits of comedy and your bits of, horror satire in Scream, but you do develop a relationship with Sidney Prescott, with Gale Weathers, with Deputy Dewey, with Jamie Kennedy's Randy character. Like, you do care about them. You do want to see them succeed. You do want to see them survive. And you're rooting for them. I think from the first film, they definitely decided to continue on with the character story rather than just kill them off in bad ways and try to make it just a random sequel with a new cast. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that they're letting the characters grow as people. And so now we get to see fucking Jerry O'Connell. And I do love that this is just such a very wonderfully classic 90s film.
So there is a weird era in the 90s where clothing was just like huge and nondescript. And I got to tell you, it is my least favorite era of clothing ever because it's just so boring and bland. Like, I wear black every day, head to toe, but the outfits in this movie are just brutal to me. I know it's the era and it's fine, but I'm just like, oh.
I mean, I don't know. I just love how wonderfully 90s it is. I really do. It makes me really happy. Like Gale Weathers coming on screen, and like the fact that David Arquette says something about her hair streaks, which is just so funny to me. Yes, and that like button dress with the collar, and I had one of those dresses. I mean, it's so crazy. I love it so much. I'm a 90s kid. It's so nostalgic to see, because it's like, oh, I wore that. I wore something like that. You know what I mean?
Is fantastic as Gale Weathers. She is such
Courtney Cox has a crazy career.
Yeah.
She's a part of two huge franchises, Scream and Friends. And just, I mean, wow, what opposite characters those two are, Monica Geller and Gale Weathers. And then of course you get Roseanne's sister,
Laurie Metcalf, as Debbie Salt.
Yep.
Yeah,
again, so wonderful.
Doing Roseanne, that was like her next big thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a huge departure for her.
I mean, because she had been playing Jackie for years on
Yeah,
Roseanne.
when Kevin